spend a lot of time empowering everybody to do his own job, making everybody accountable and responsible for their job. What we did is we really restructured the whole quality operations within the company. But what's quality assurance going to do? What is the new role for quality assurance in this environment? And that's what we want to discuss today. Now, quality assurance for a long time has preached prevention. And they say you've got to prevent problems. You've got to get out there and truly understand your process. But what have they spent all their time? They're out solving problems, fighting the fires of today. You know, they preach one story, but they practice another story. And what we need to do is to restructure our quality organization so that it truly is focusing on prevention. We also have to position that quality organization so that it takes a stature that is different than it's had in the past. What we need to do, if quality is equal between cost and schedule, in the organization structure, you have to move it up and make it equal. And we've seen that in the United States taking place, that there have been people made quality manager, vice president, quality manager, director of quality at the corporate level that's on the same level as the controller, the vice president of engineering.
So you're talking about moving quality as a function right up to direct report into the president, the CEO of the organization. You're virtually saying this is a line function. It's not just a staff thing to have around.
Absolutely. And we've got to start by doing that, by upgrading it and putting quality on a stature that's at an equal par with cost and schedule. And that action certainly sends a message out to the rest of the organization. But once you do that, you also change the role of quality assurance. You need to take them out of the firefighting role and really expand their effort, not just to the product like we thought of quality assurance in the past, but the quality of the total operation. Remember, our customers look at us not just from the products we provide, but that total interface that we have with them. And that's what this new quality role is. You've got to put quality so that it's welcomed in the boardroom and represented in the boardroom by a quality assurance manager of some type.
It's almost, Jim, like, you know, we used to come in and say, how are sales, how are costs? What should come first in almost every meeting is how is quality.
Yes,
right.
You got it.
So in other words, it becomes the premier reason for groups focusing, because it's the one that's going to create sales and create profits and handle costs.
It should be first on the agenda, you know, in all cases. See, what we've had a tendency to do is quality has sort of been a jack of all trades. We've dumped things on them. You know, we put them into design review, we put them in supplier selection, and they just seem to accumulate lots of things. Now, what quality is really good at, and what they should be doing, is first verifying that we have a process, then measuring the process, and reporting the process, and then making sure that there's corrective action when out-of-control conditions occur. So that's the role of quality assurance, not all these other things that are going on. And remember, when I talk about process, we're not talking about just the manufacturing process, we're talking about the business processes as a whole. And quality has to take on that role of that complete picture of the total activities.
So when companies say quality is number one, that means that's the most important thing in that company. There is nothing that has greater importance than the quality issue today.
And that means that the quality assurance organization has to organize to the point that they're doing audits that cover more than just the manufacturing process, but they audit the entire manufacturing system. And I call that systems quality assurance. And they have to look at what's happening in finance, in sales, in engineering, and are we following that total organization structure? The new quality organization is made up really of 4 parts. Quality assurance, as we've known it in the past, which looks at the product. Systems assurance, that measures what's happening throughout the whole total business process. Certainly some laboratories that support failure analysis, for example, and reliability and maintainability analysis. And those are the 4 things that quality should be working on. And that's the organization structure that quality should have.
Within the past year, I think we've done something very unique here at IBM San Jose, and that is to fold the quality assurance function back into the line organization. We have 4 major manufacturing groups here at San Jose, each manufacturing or doing a process that's a little bit unique. In recognition of the fact that we want our production workers and our management team to accept the responsibility for the quality of our products and processes, we have folded that organization back into the line organization. We no longer have, in fact, a quality assurance organization led by a functional head, separate and distinct from the rest of the organization. Each manufacturing unit now has its own quality responsibility and its own quality inspectors, and as much as possible, we're trying to get the production worker to do his own quality inspection so that each worker is in fact responsible for the output of his job.
Okay, our quality assurance function at Selectron is kind of unique to our industry and possibly to some of the other electronics companies. What we've done is we've taken the approach that the divisions are totally responsible for the quality of the products they build and ship. And in that light, what we've done is we've identified the QA managers to be resident and reporting to the divisions themselves. As a corporate group, we only have 2 to 3 people at the corporate level in QA, myself and Tom Kennedy. We set the direction and try to maintain the consistency throughout all the different divisions of the corporation, from a quality guideline, quality strategy, what gets implemented, what type of statistical process control programs and systems we use. The divisions then, in turn, are required to implement that with our help. We will offer the training and support necessary to implement that, and then we conversely go back and ensure that they're consistently implemented across all divisions. That way, the divisions themselves remain completely in control of the quality of the products they ship. Each of the QA managers in the divisions report directly to a vice president of that particular group. There is no inspection in the process itself reporting to the quality organization. The inspectors in the process report to the production organization. So their responsibility is back to production from a build and ship and build quality into the product standpoint.
We have a very interesting, I believe, quality organization which is counter to most quality organizations. I have a vice president of quality reporting to me, but the quality organization that is associated with each division does not report to him directly. It reports through the division management. And it has worked very well for us because we're not in a role of policing and being checked on kind of a role. It's not an adversarial role. It's more of a complementary role in the sense that the quality organization is there to help improve the functioning of the organization, not only in the product, but also in the process and the procedures, so that the organization will become more efficient and return quality dollars to the corporation. Also improving the quality of the knowledge of our people, so that and it has worked very well for us by looking at the charts on the quality yield charts, the Pareto charts, and the SPC charts. So we will continue to do that.
In this new role of quality, this systems quality assurance organization takes on a very vital role. You know, they conduct audits of the total systems. They provide the president's eyes into every part of the business to be sure that the procedures are being followed, to make sure that things are running the way he expects them to run. And when they do that, they provide a value-added service. They're no longer the policeman that's standing up there saying, hey, you can't go. They are truly value-added. And with that quality assurance role, we've really tied this all together, almost. We've still missed something. You know, what you really want to do is to reinforce desired behavior.
called recognition, rewards,
That's
excitement.
it. We've got to have the
That's
recognition.
right.
We've got to have the rewards. Remember the quality ring where we went around, we accomplished the target, and then we rewarded people. Rewards is an important issue. And I've really decided to talk about this, the last thing. Why? Not because it's least important, but it's something that's got to be left in everybody's mind. It's probably one of the most important things we're going to talk about. Rewards reinforce desired behavior, and you need to develop a total reward system, and something that's very complete. And when you start looking at what is a good reward system, well, first of all, it rewards individuals for unusual contribution. It's something that recognizes superior performance. It highlights individuals that are recognized. In other words, when you reward somebody, you put them up on a stand so everybody can see them, so they can mimic their actions. It improves the morale, not of just that person, but other people, because they see that person getting recognized and they say, hey, that's something worthwhile. And certainly, it reinforces desired behavior. And that's the ingredients of a good recognition system. And that doesn't come about by accident. We have to, again, plan.
It's got to be part of that whole master 3-year plan schedule that you were talking about, and probably build into every 90 days.
Yes. And what we're actually going to do is look at the different types of recognition. Now, there's certainly financial compensation, and that is a recognition form, you know. And in that, we're talking salaries, commissions, employee stock plans. A lot of people say money isn't important. You know, people don't want to be recognized with money. I hear many of the gurus say, you know, the quality recognition system should be pats on the back and thank you. Well, I believe there's a time for a pat on the back and a time for a pat in the wallet.
Right.
And you got to do both at the right time, because everybody hears thank you in a different way. And you've got to develop a complete package that's going to approach each person so you can say thank you the way they want to hear it.
It's almost like there's a cafeteria and they get to select what's meaningful to them. If I give them a fishing trip, you know, in Canada, and they want to go to sunny Florida, we've really missed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, that's where the whole financial things. We're seeing more and more emphasis placed upon bonuses and gain sharing. You know, executive bonuses are a very usual and accepted thing. Almost 90% of Fortune 500 executives are on a bonus plan based upon how good the company does. You know, if that vice president of Chrysler benefits and feels it's important that he gets a bonus because the money is important to him, well, don't you think it's important to the little guy down on the floor that's paying for his refrigerator? He needs the money more. Certainly, you are motivated by bonuses, by money. And you tie in with the company when you do give them bonuses. So you look at bonuses, you look at Scallon plan, Riker plan. The plan I particularly like is an improvement gain sharing plan. That one recognizes the employees based upon improved quality and productivity, decreasing poor quality costs and increasing your productivity ratio and decreasing warranty costs. That combination is shared with the employees. And when you start doing that, they relate very directly. Now, these reward systems should be very closely attached to the time interval when they occur. I like to give reward systems monthly. Quarterly is a long time path.
Nobody wants to wait that long for a thank you.
Yes.
And they sure don't want to wait that long when they feel like you owe them some money.
The second type is monetary awards. And I think, again, we're talking dollars. We should recognize people for unusual contributions, individuals that accomplish something. You know, the suggestion program we talked about earlier, that's a monetary award. Patent awards for major breakthroughs in patents should be given. Outstanding contribution awards for doing something special. And those could be from large amount of monies to a weekend on the town, or even a night out with your wife where you pick up the dinner tab. Those are all important recognitions. And what you need to do is to publicize those. You need to have corporate recognition events where those people come together and are recognized. The third type is individual private recognition. You've got to recognize the person by themselves. What do I mean by that? promotions, that's an individual recognition. Maybe an office layout that's a little bit different. Recognition meetings where they're recognized. A ring that's given for a special thing, jewelry. Something that the people see that individual has accomplished something. Maybe it's a trip to Florida instead of to Alaska. Those all add together. We have found some very effective things, something very similar like posters where we quote individuals' comments on quality, and we makes a quote, put his picture up with his signature on it. You know, you do that and you put that all up throughout the plant, that man's going to be a quality champion for the rest of his life. He can't afford to ever step backwards. Fourth type is group recognitions. You've got to have some way of recognizing the team. You know, articles that are published about the team and what they accomplished, department functional meetings where you recognize them, coffee for the group, a cake for the group, family picnics where the group does something, you take the whole family out. You know, if you really want to make an impression on somebody, what you do is you make him look like a hero in front of his family.
Yeah.
You may be a little fish in a big pond when you're at work, but when you go home, that's where you want to be queen or king. And so if you can put that person in the spotlight in his family's eyes, you're going to have a champion for life. Department plaques, another example. But those are the sort of recognition for groups that you've got to have. Now the fifth type of recognition is private individual recognition. This is things that's not done in public. It's an honest thank you. It's a letter sent home to the employee. And I like that because you send the letter, it goes home, it comes in, and the wife opens it up and says, "Hey, Tom, look at this, what your boss is saying about you." Again, recognition at home. Personal notes on work. "Good job, Joe. Keep it up. I really like this one." That sort of thing. Very important. And certainly, performance evaluation is another personal recognition. You need to develop a complete package of recognition programs. What we'd like to have the group do is to interrupt the program for just a minute, and I'd like you to develop a list of as many recognition items as you possibly can find related to, number one, personal private recognition, 2, personal public recognition, 3, group recognition. Recognition is an absolutely essential part of the whole improvement process. When we're recognized, we feel good about ourselves. We feel proud about our job. So developing a complete recognition process is an important fact, and it must be used not to look at just solving problems, but to apply it to the people who truly prevent the problems from occurring. That's been a major problem with our recognition systems. They've been directed at the people who solve problems, not at the people that prevent them. In our new management style, we're going to focus on prevention, and we have to reward people that prevent problems from occurring. When you start talking about recognition and rewards, probably the ultimate recognition that a company can have as far as their quality systems are concerned is to receive the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. The first one was given last year, and it was presented by the President of the United States to 3 companies, recognizing them for their outstanding contribution to quality. Certainly when you talk about recognition, you could have no better way of being recognized for contributing to the success of our country than to be recognized by our President. I'd like to wrap up this session with some examples of when this all ties together and works. See what happened.
Quality is very important to the future of Accurate. We see it now as one of the greatest concerns we have in this organization. Our surveys have shown that people like our quality, but we're not satisfied with that. We want to be the best. We want each and every customer out there to be able to tell somebody else, if you want a good job, if you want a good piece of equipment, buy it from Accurate. We don't want customers going out there for bids. We want to be the first thing that's on the tip of their tongue.
I build and hunt with muzzleloading rifles, and to me, to have a quality system without top management commitment is sort of like a muzzleloader hunter putting powder in his flash pan and none in his muzzle. When you strike the flint to it, you get a big flash in the pan, but when all the smoke clears, there's nothing come out the muzzle.
In our strategic planning cycle, quality is always one of the top topics. What we do is look into, say, 10 years from now, where we want to be in terms of quality in competing in a world marketplace. And we're looking into, say, what's come out of the best from Japanese company and what we can adapt from American innovation in terms of computer-aided management, such as CIM, computer integrated manufacturing. And we try to invest from the long-term standpoint, next 3 years, what kind of investment is required. We implement those into our strategic plan.
The major problem that you have in putting together a total quality program probably lies with the management. It's not so much with the wage force. The wage force is the least of your problem. Management is the greater problem because it's the total quality problem, the total quality program, statistical process control, all of those things are viewed as a threat. If you get to the point where you're 80 or 90% operator controlled in your processes, your managers on the line are standing around saying, well, what's going to happen to me? If people are going to be operating the process and we no longer have to watch and check what they do, what will we be doing? We've tried to address that by refocusing their efforts. You know, their job as managers is to provide the people working under them with whatever they need to be more productive and more efficient. Their job is not to just watch and check what everybody does. Their job is to make that process more efficient, help the people to be more productive through providing them tools, whatever they need. That's the most difficult facet of the overall total quality process, just getting your management to buy into the program, to the process, and that requires a tremendous amount of effort.
I do believe in the team approach as the primary approach to succeeding in this area, in the area of quality. And at Selectron, we do form teams. I think it's important that we do it in a team effort since most of our jobs are very large. No man is an island to himself. And we encourage team approaches. We have QPI teams in the manufacturing area. We also have QPI teams in the administrative areas, such as the purchasing area. in the materials handling area, and has been very effective for us in terms of returning quality dollars to us.
She was the first line supervisor, and so she had to be the team leader. That's the way it was set up at that time. And she was probably one of the biggest cynics. You know, I mean, she was pretty cynical about it, pretty critical, but because it was mandatory, she went through the process. And went through the process well. She did a good job of it, but with reluctance. And then, I think, saw that the process worked, that it was respected, that it was valued by her own departments, management and administration and upper management, and that it got results. And with, again, some reluctance, used the process again, and continued to use the process, and each time with more enthusiasm, because it was being valued, and she got better and better at it.
Each tapper has the responsibility to take his charts, and each tap we have to log in. We go into the computer, we get our analysis out on our finished product. We record these in the required columns. We take 3 taps, add those up, that gives us a total, our sum, and we average them out. Then we have our differential range. And this kind of gives us a grasp on where our furnace is going and with our ladle additions, whether we need maybe to add a little bit next time or take a little bit out, you know. Kind of gives us a pretty good grasp on where we're going with things. You get to see it, you know, you get to see it instead of just hear about it, I guess. There was a lot of guesswork involved, and through our SPC program, everything has been cut down to a minimum of guesswork. It's all been we work with computers, we work with charts, we work with each individual. We have meetings. When something goes wrong, we go through our channels, we go through our steps, and we work it out. It's basically pretty simple if you just follow the steps and the guidelines set out.
I think one of the keys to our success here is that we're very good at the fundamentals. We're kind of like the football team that is real good at running and passing and throwing and catching and all the little fundamental things that have to be done. When you put that all together, you can go win the Super Bowl.
And one of the things that we learned and we wanted to understand better was that if we could make the best quality products in the world, why couldn't our business processes be the best business processes in the world?
Of course, one of the most important things that we can do at Globe to develop this prevention-based quality system that we have in place is make sure that the raw materials that we receive from our suppliers are very consistent and very high quality all the time. Now, we broached this issue in 1985. Prior to then, we maybe never went to visit a supplier, or if we did, it would have just been very randomly and not any kind of pattern to it. And our quality control with suppliers was mainly 100% inspection of what they sent us, and then complaining and rejecting shipments that they would send us. And when you complain to a supplier, we would find that they would straighten up for a couple of deliveries maybe, and then kind of work their way right back into the same problem that they were having in the past. So we decided that rather than just mandate to them, dictate that they have to go do something, we decided to go do it for them, to kind of take the training to them. And I think we're almost unique in this area because we actually take a team of our own people and sit down and actually train their hourly employees, not just the salaried employees, but the hourly ones as well. We consider our suppliers, to be our partners, just as we consider ourselves to be partners with our own customers. And we nurture that relationship, and we treat our suppliers just like we would a customer these days. It's really changed, that kind of relationship. Instead of just dictating and playing hardball with them and ordering them to do something, we go down and facilitate it ourselves and try to help them. I would suggest to any CEO from any small company or large company for that matter that if they're not on this quality bandwagon now, they had better get on it pretty quick, because this is the direction that American industry, both manufacturing and service, is moving. And if we don't try to keep pace, we could very well lose our business.
Where do we go from here, Jim? We've spent 10 sessions really looking at this continuous improvement process. If you were going to wrap it all together, what's the thing that you want to say to everyone out there, to the world in general, about what you've dedicated your life to accomplishing? And from everything I've heard you say, to what you think everyone should dedicate their life to accomplishing.
Well, I believe that when you start tying this all together, that everybody's going to benefit. This is the one activity that's a win-win situation. It's not an activity that's organized to split markets, because when you decrease weight, profit comes up and you don't need additional customers. So quality is the driving force as we move forward. I think it's as simple as that. It's the one area that unites the world rather than divides the world. It can be a bringing together operation. And it really impacts total morale. And what I'd like to do is to end this program by going over my 5 rules.
All right.
And rule number 1, my rule number 1 is the top 5 priorities are the customer, the customer, the customer, the customer, and the customer. Ray, good, you're doing well out there. Okay, rule number 2. The 5 keys to profit are quality, 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 and quality. Great, great. Rule number 3. The steps to competitiveness are, number 1, provide your customer with output that exceeds their expectation. Rule number 2 is go back and do rule number 1 over again and do it better. Rule number 4, leaders work on the process. The employees work within the process. Rule number 5 is a simple rule. Be better today than you were yesterday, and better tomorrow than you are today.
Thank you, Jim.